Hello everyone, welcome back. Tom with Capo Fetish. Today we're going to talk about 3 great vocal chameleons. And I'm going to start off here with number 1, and that is David Bowie. Bowie has employed many voices to his repertoire all throughout his discography. And I'm going to start off with one obvious one, the kind of glam Bowie that we hear on Ziggy Stardust, Suffragette City, parts of Hunky Dory, quite a bit of Aladdin Sane. So that's one Bowie voice right there, the glam Bowie. And then we've got that icy and kind of disenchanted Bowie or disconnected Bowie, which we find on like albums like Station to Station. His voice is deep, robotic, sounds completely nothing like the Ziggy era. You can hear it on songs like Station to Station, TVC15, songs like Breaking Glass on Low, where he sounds very disconnected and robotic. That's a very popular Bowie voice. And then we've got, of course, the blue-eyed soul Bowie from Young Americans, doing that Young Americans title track. And then we've got Fascination, just a completely new sound, whole new vocal for Bowie. And then one Bowie vocal I really love that he never really used a lot, but that more rocker Bowie, like on Rebel Rebel and Diamond Dogs. I love that particular style he does on that. That's really cool. And then, of course, you've got like crooner Bowie, which is a real big thing, like on Wild as the Wind, off Station to Station. Also Heroes as well. He's the master of the crooning voice, very deep baritone. It's good stuff. And then you've got kind of a cabaret Bowie as well on Lady Grinning Soul of Aladdin Sane. Such an amazing vocal. He can really hit those octaves. Not only is he a great character voice, he's just a great voice altogether. He can do low and between, all types of things. So yeah, always loved his vocal on Lady Grinning Soul. And then you've got like the balladeer Bowie. I love the way his voice sounds on like Changes and Quicksand. That's really cool. And then you've got like otherworldly Bowies. You've got like what he does at the end of Warsaw. That kind of operatic thing, really bizarre, really cool. And then like on Heroes, Sons of the Silent Age, love that kind of otherworldly, strange Bowie. So that's one chameleon of rock and roll, should we say, we're talking about today. Second one we're going to talk about is Ray Davies. So the Kinks, Ray, over the 30 years of their recordings, has employed so many different vocals on all of the Kinks albums, starting with about 1966. About 67 through 77, this is when he really used a lot of different voices, character voices throughout. And if you weren't a Kinks fan and you just heard a particular song, you wouldn't even know that was the Kinks, because Ray can do so many different things with his voice. He's not a technical singer, but he can just employ a lot of different characters, almost kind of like the Mel Blanc of rock singers, Ray Davies. So when the Kinks started out, it was kind of like what everybody else was doing, at that time in the British invasion, just trying to kind of mimic American accents. So the early Ray Davies was like, doing the American thing on You Really Got Me, All Day and All the Night, Set Me Free. And then by the time they got kicked out of the U.S. And he started writing more personal stories about England and etc., he started putting on his British accent more. So like songs like A Well-Respected Man, Dedicated Follower of Fashion, he started employing his more British accent. And this continued throughout the 60s with Ray Davies, like on songs like David Watts' Harry Rag off Something Else. Definitely distinguishing himself from his peers like the Beatles, Stones, The Who. He's singing in a total official British accent on these songs, and that would become kind of one of his most famous voices, like on Autumn Almanac, Village Green, Dead End Street, All My Friends Were There. Those two are kind of like these fey vocals that he kind of developed too, which set him apart from a lot of other people and makes him really unique. And then around the time of Village Green Preservation Society, on the song Big Sky, Ray Davies started using this new lower register kind of hipster vocal in like the beginning of Big Sky, which kind of carried on to Arthur, a completely new Ray Davies voice on like songs like Victoria, Yes Sir, No Sir. He actually does like 3 different voices on that song. And then the midsection of Shangri-La, Nothing to Say, Brainwash. It's like this whole kind of new Ray Davies voice vibe on Arthur. And then, of course, Ray is like the absolute, he is like the bar when it comes to character voices. They're all over the Kinks catalog. Just all these different voices, like on 8 Man, kind of like this pseudo kind of calypso thing going on. And then like on albums like Preservation Act 2, his character voices are kind of at a peak here with like Secondhand Car Spiv and Scum of the Earth. And it just continues on throughout their concept period with Schoolboys in Disgrace, where he's using comedy, his comic voice on Jack the Idiot Dunce, and just on throughout their catalog. His voice is just always changing to suit whatever song or subject he's talking about. And then another thing Ray Davies can do really well, along with his peers, is be a real belter and a screamer. So you've got really great belting vocalizations like on Attitude and Pressure off of Low Budget. And kind of the mid to end section of 20th Century Man, he's just really belting it out. So just another great Ray Davies voice, just a completely different thing. And then when he's doing ballads, and he has this real compassionate, kind of very Faye-sounding voice, like on songs like Celluloid Heroes, songs like Misfits and God's Children. And then one other thing he does too is the sarcasm. Ray Davies is like the king of sarcasm. He always employs that on songs like Top of the Pops, songs like Demolition off Preservation Act 1, and of course The Money Go Round off this album right here. So Ray Davies is kind of just, he's an amazing, nobody really thinks of him in that way. They always think of his songwriting, but his singing style is very unique song to song. It always sounds a little different and very, very, very unique. So Ray Davies was number 2 on my list tonight. And then the last one we're going to go over is Peter Gabriel. So Peter Gabriel, when he was in Genesis and then his early solo career, he was employing a lot of different weird voices to his songs. Starting with Supper's Ready back in 72 off Foxtrot. Starts off real kind of like dark and foreboding. And then he starts into this other weird voice during this flower bit, during Willow Farm. Sounds nothing like him. And then other voices go on as well during that song, which sound like they've been sped up. And then his whole vocal range is on display on this song. And at the end, he's just belting it out with the most soulful voice, one of the greatest crescendos. So Peter Gabriel has a ton of different voices. On the album Selling England by the Pound, the Battle of Epping Forest, he must go through about 4 or 5 different characterizations going on in the song. It's really, really unique. It doesn't really sound anything like it in progressive rock in like 1973, so that's really cool. And then on their last album, Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, he's all over the map with singing styles and characters. And the song Back in New York City is like he's just screaming the entire song. It's just so like punk energy. And other songs like Colony of Slipperman, he's taking on 3 or 4 different roles, really odd sounding characters. And then, the title track is the classic, belting, soulful Peter Gabriel voice on the title track. And then the Grand Parade of Lifeless Packaging, his voice sounds very sinister and kind of crazy. So yeah, Peter Gabriel was kind of the master of a lot of different vocals in his early career. He doesn't really do that kind of thing anymore. Even on his first album, Moribund the Burgermeister, he's a really cool kind of monster sound, I Will Find Out. And also, Excuse Me, he's kind of doing the barbershop quartet. I'm waiting for the big one. He's doing kind of this bluesy kind of voice. He's just all over the map on this one too, showing his odd vocal personality and such. And then on his third album, you've got Intruder, which opens the album, and it's just totally like sinister sounding and just dark and creepy, and he has that kind of voice. Then he has the really nice balladeer voice on Family Snapshot. So yeah, he's all over the map. His voice sounds really different on Games Without Frontiers. I don't think he's ever recorded another song that has that kind of sound and that voice. So, and then Lead in Normal Life is really kind of mostly an instrumental on this album. He sounds really like, just really, I don't know how would you even say it. It's like disquieting sounding. So Peter Gabriel too is number 3. I'm going to try to do another video like this where I had other singers in mind that fit this criteria. They sing more in character voices. But that'll be down the line, so that'll be a part 2. But if you have any to add to the comment section, let me know. I was just thinking of these 3. These 3 have always meant a lot to me, and I've always listened to so much of the music, so it's always been a thing. So list yours in the comments section. As always, thanks for watching, everybody. If you haven't subscribed, please do, and we'll see you soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.